Let's talk about the file submission process for batch file uploads in CalPADS. We'll discuss the file upload functionality, viewing submissions, and the different submission statuses. So using the left navigation, you can select upload or view submission. And we want to go first to upload. We've extracted the files from a student information system. We saved them somewhere on our local machine, perhaps the desktop. And now we're ready for upload. So the different features you see on the file upload screen are add additional files. So there are certain circumstances where multiple files can be submitted at one time. You have your file type, and you have to select the corresponding file type for your upload. So you can see the different file types available for uploading CalPADS. A job name text box where you can give the job or the submission a name so that you can easily identify it on the view submission screen. And then there's a choose file button, which allows you to open up your desktop and retrieve your file. And lastly, this upload files button is to execute the upload. So first thing we want to make note of is that the file type must match the file type that you select. So let's demonstrate. Here we have 4 different files. I'm going to select a program file. SPRG is what I named it. Okay. You can see the record type code is a SPRG, SPRG, student program record. Okay. That's the record type. I've selected it and you can see it here. Now, I'm not going to select the file type. I'm just going to submit it as is. And we'll just call this test 1. We'll see what happens. I get a file upload error, and there's a string message here that says the file type selected for test 1, which I named it, is a SENR. It does not match the file type reference. The file is a CRSC, the file type is submit. So this error message isn't entirely correct because it was a SPRG file, but generally the purpose of this message is telling me what I selected and uploaded does not match what I specified, okay? So let's try this again. Let's first select the file. I'm gonna submit a student information file. Here's the preview. I can see that it's an Excel file and the record type is student information. I've selected it. Now I'm careful to select the correct file type, and I will just put a name or a nickname. Okay, and now I'm going to upload this file. And you can see that it says file upload successful. We're at the view submission screen. Now, I can't see that upload yet. However, if I wait a while and then refresh, it will appear. Now, let's go back to the file upload screen. So here we are back at the file upload screen, and I'm going to show you how you can select additional files. I've previously submitted student enrollment records and posted them. And so now I'm going to show you that you can select multiple files and submit them simultaneously. So I want the student information. I want the student program and a student English language acquisition file or a CELA file. So I will be submitting all these 3 files simultaneously. I want to make sure that I correctly identify the file or record types. Okay, and then I'm gonna nickname them, okay? Job name is strictly optional, but if you're submitting multiple files of the same record type, either multiple schools or because it's an iterative process, you may be whittling down errors. It helps you keep track. Additionally, each job has the name if you choose to name it, but they will be signed a job ID. Okay, so now we're back on the view submission screen, okay? And I can just cancel this message. And I'm waiting. These were previously submitted files. I have to wait a few minutes. You can see they're all in review status, which we'll discuss shortly. I'm going to click F5 on my keyboard to refresh my browser. And now you can see my 3 submissions, right? They're in queue status. And so here we are, the different statuses. We demonstrated upload fail. And we got a message saying that we didn't pass the initial validations of rule processing. Now we're in queue status. The file did pass the initial validations of rule processing and is waiting to be processed. On hold is a rare status. The CDD has placed the file in a delayed process state. Rarely do you see on hold. In times of system maintenance, you may see it, but rarely. I don't know that I've ever seen on hold. In process is the next status after in queue. So when your file is in process, sometimes you'll miss it because it goes from in queue to in process very quickly. And then ready for review is common status that you will see after your file has passed all the validations, whether they have successfully passed the validations or validations identified fatal errors, you're going to have a file that's in ready to review status. Now, once you open that file and review any records or look at the details, the next status is in review. After you've reviewed the file and you've chosen to post the records or any records, it doesn't even have to be all the records. You've decided to post a record in the file, you go to post requested. You're placed in a queue at that point again, depending on CalPADS' bandwidth, depending on the congestion, depending on the activity. You can process from post requested to post or posted or partial post pretty quickly, or it can take quite some time. If you are in a partial post status, it's key to understand that CalPADS is telling you you have to go back in and make some additional decisions. There's additional functionality required. You have not completed a submission if your file status is partial post. And it's a clear indication of exactly what it says. You have partially posted the records in the file. Either you can go back in and select the remaining records for posting, or you can go exclude those records because you do not want to post them. However, your file's not considered complete until it is in the posted status. Once all the records have been excluded or posted, the status will say posted. If you were to exclude the entire file, all the records in the file status would say excluded. Then the last 2 statuses come after posted. Revision in progress, when there's an applicable snapshot running and the data within your file can be applied to that snapshot, you will see revision in progress. This is an indication to you that the CalPADS extractor has collected those records in the file and they are part of your new snapshot. You have to wait until the file says revision complete to see those records applied to the snapshot. When you're early in the submission window, you don't notice these statuses very much because you'll submit your file, go do other things, come back, post the file, go do other things, and then it will say revision complete. But when you are constantly monitoring your data near a deadline and you're waiting for your records to be applied to your snapshot, you may see revision in progress, then revision complete. Only when it says revision complete are you guaranteed that the data within your file are part of your most recent snapshot or part of a snapshot. So let's go over the sequence. So you start off with a in processing, right? We're not going to get an upload fail. The file's processing. Then it goes to in queue. Once it goes to the in queue, it goes to in process. And then it can either be an upload fail or it can be ready for review. Ready for review is orange because we're waiting on user interaction. You have to review the files The rejected and the pass records, you can either post or exclude records. Once you have started reviewing the file, you have two actions. You can either exclude the records or you can post the records. If you do not post all the records, you can go to partial post. Perhaps there's changes made in the CalPEDS ODS that require post-fail after they've been reviewed. So if you're working with colleagues and you're working on the same student data, a discrepancy in the ODS that conflicts with records that would be posted can cause a post-fail. But generally, you get post requested, whether you post all or just some of the records. If you post all the records, you go down to post it. That means the file has completed. There's no other actions. So an excluded status and a posted status, an upload fail status, or post fail status all tell you processing is done. There's nothing you can do more. If your file status is posted and a snapshot is running, you can expect it to go to a revision in progress status. That's telling you the system is processing those records into the next snapshot. When it says revision incomplete, the processing is done. So there's three statuses in which requires user interaction after submitting a file: ready for review, in review, and partial post. Everything else is system processing or processing has finished. Now we're ready to go back to the demonstration.